if I delve into it, I might be touching into a very sensitive part of you when it comes to your economic knowledge. But I need, for the sake of our viewers tonight, if you can tell us, maybe, just maybe, we're on the right track. And if this government is doing the right things and touching on the right nerves to agitate or to propel the economy forward, what do you think about the trajectory in which we have been on over the last 9 months or so?
You can approach problems from different perspectives. The people who talk about a Big Bang approach, the people who think that Big Bang is destructive, the people who would therefore that you progress. But the Big Bang can work. And the approach of a modulated engagement can probably even work much better. It all depends on the context and all of that. So everything should be given time to be seen through, to then evaluate. I think to rush to prescribe that this was right or this is wrong, I think is not the way to go. The naked, sad truth is that we are way, way, way behind those that we started out with, those we started out ahead of. And for me, fundamentally, at the core of it is the collapse of culture in Nigeria, our values. I give you a simple example. Look at what Egypt has done under its current president. I mean, I'm not just talking about the new Cairo, the infrastructure everywhere, the way the power initiative has been managed and all of that. But just look at the number of SUVs that run around you guys in Abuja and the ones that run around in Cairo. I told the story of arriving in Cairo with a group of senior bank executives in Nigeria who were in the same hotel. They had ordered a serious car to take them to the meeting the following day. So that serious car turned out to be something like a Toyota Corolla, and they were very infuriated. And for them in Cairo, hey, that's a serious car, you know. For the Nigerian big man, that is a joke. It has to be a huge SUV to take them. And so you get government officials squander the wealth of the nation in buying themselves all kinds of fancy imported cars, and they've not looked at development, and poor people are hungry. Look, Shehu, the problems are too fundamental. It's not about an economic team, it's about elite consciousness to determine what really is our country, where do we want to take it?
How do we get that out? How do we get that working? How do we get that elite consensus?
Well, first of all,
I know that government at the top needs to also drive that conversation, doesn't it? Is the government really trying to trigger that elite consensus narrative that you portray, that you're talking about?
It starts with the example of the government officials. Again, I keep going back, and please pardon me on this, I keep going back to General Obasanjo. I gave him a lot of trouble as a young student leader back in the 70s. But I'm ever so admiring of him. Look, when oil prices went down one notch, General Obasanjo, as head of state, declared low profile because our incomes were down. He said, you know, we're going to cut our coats according to our cloth, not according to our size. He came down as head of state to Peugeot 504. Everybody else went below that. But look at the motorcades of even legislative leaders in Nigeria. I mean, something has gone so fundamentally wrong with the culture of leadership. Leadership is about sacrifice. It's not about taking the people's. Look at the kinds of. I'm so glad for Alex Uti and what he has done with the pensions that the former governors gave themselves. We should do that across the board. We draw all these houses they built for themselves. It is thievery. These men should be in jail for doing these things. To use public resources like that is to show that you don't have conscience.
So, Prof, if President Tinubu were to do something that you think will get us in the right direction, what would that be?
That's, first of all, getting everybody to say, hey, we're here to serve people, not for our personal convenience and glory. We cut all the frills. We really go to work. and we focus on production. What do we do to create industrial parks, small estates around the country? We bring together young entrepreneurs, sources of financing, and go to work as a country based on our factor endowments across the country. Let us produce and produce our way out of poverty. Look, exchange rates. You can play games one way or the other, and exchange rates can go this way, go that way. The only thing that manages to make it happen in the final analysis is how you produce, and how you produce what others want from you, usually based on your factor endowments, which give you a latent comparative advantage. This is a latent comparative advantage that gets translated into ultimately foreign income, foreign reserves, and the strengthening of your exchange rate if that is your big problem. See, I just came back from Taiwan. I was driving around this small country of 24 million people, nearly 1.6 million entrepreneurs and SMEs, and exporting like crazy. And I'm asking myself, why? The Gini coefficient in Taiwan, I used to teach with it many years ago, in the 50s. A few people had so much money, most people were poor. Today, the Gini index in Taiwan is so narrow because everybody's making money, everybody's thriving. But the elite consciousness in Nigeria is not in that direction. It's how everybody else can look like a pauper and a few people live like kings. That is false consciousness that keeps countries down.
Yeah. So you and your friends are proposing a parliamentary system of government, which you think might be a perfect fit for the Nigeria that we want. Why?
Many reasons. First of all, accountability is so missing in this current arrangement. It's so bad. In a parliamentary system, accountability increases. First of all, the fact that the people are close to government by the fact that their direct representatives get to parliament, those direct representatives pick one amongst them to lead them, and they're constantly being referred to or referring to the people and the problems and the challenges on a daily basis. And if the government is not delivering, if government can fall today, we have a new government tomorrow. But here, all you have to do is make people poor and take advantage of their poverty, distribute some things to them on election day. For the next 4 years, nobody asks you any question. You behave like a tyrant, you do anything you like. So accountability is one reason why the parliamentary system is a preferred form of government. Two, costs. To get elected, it's only a small constituency, a home constituency, that knows your grandfather, that knows everybody, that knows that in your family, they've been thieves for generations. So we won't vote for that kind of guy. The family is a family of thieves. And so they vote somebody who might be modest, who has no money, who didn't have the money to spread around the country to try and become president. And then that person comes, his colleagues respect his intellect and his capacity, his passion, and they make him leader. And he leads the country. Anytime he feels, the colleagues shove him aside and a new person comes up. So a parliamentary form of government is clearly so much more cost-effective for a democracy than a presidential type system where you have to run around the entire country. And really seriously, look at our world. Who are the democracies that thrive? What kind of democracies are they? I mean, they're majorly parliamentary democracies, and people connect more to parliaments, and parliaments can more readily have the pressure from the people directly than presidential forms of detached ministers who somebody brings from nowhere, and they say, but look, back in the 80s, one of my fun things to do was to go into Nairobi. I had a friend who was a great Kenyan writer, publisher. I used to write a column in Newsweek magazine back in those days. And we both sit at the Thorn Tree Cafe of the New Stanley Hotel. And within an hour, all kinds of ministers, MPs will be coming in and out. They will stop, greet this person, greet that person. How many ministers do you see walking around and having tea in bars around the place, and people coming and chat with them? Some guy from the street will walk in and say, MP, look, this thing you guys did last week, I'm not sure you guys are really considering, and walk away. And I used to enjoy watching that. I know how many times I've run into Nigerian ministers sitting in some open cafe in some place in Abuja. In fact, not talk of their constituencies. They've all moved from their constituencies to Abuja. They don't even know what's happening in their constituency. They just use them to collect money, so-called constituency projects and stuff. Our democracy is just not working.
Yeah, Professor
Utomi. That's
Utomi,
why perhaps a parliamentary system will make it better.
Yeah, I'm being told I have...